Okay, why don't we start the meeting? All rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start pleading this morning.
If you will do the roll, please.
Robert Mueller.
Here.
Dina Kreitler.
Here.
Jan Braun.
Here.
Sarah Menard. Mary Beth Ferguson. Kelly Fowler. Laura Oliver.
Here.
Michael Hankins.
Here.
Kathleen Walsh.
Here.
Beth Caldwell. And we have a quorum.
Thank you. First off would be approval of the agenda. Under old business, I'd like to give you the latest update on the National Park Sites study that I got from Sharon Miles, so that would be an addition. Are there any other additions or deletions or corrections? If not,
If there aren't any changes, I'll make a motion to approve.
Kathy, is there a second?
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the August 19th meeting. I think you remember that the September meeting, we did it as a work session. Those notes are also included in your package, but if you go to the back of the program, you'll see that the meetings of August 19th, those minutes are attached.
The street was closed. They're flushing out the fire hydrants, apparently.
Was that the water system? Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm like, think I could drive through there?
Is
If there aren't any changes or corrections, I'll make a motion to approve.
there a second?
Second.
Dina, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. The next is any citizens to be heard. The answer is no one's here, so I guess we'll move on to, are you ready to do your report? Okay, Sandra.
You can take one and pass it down. Are we having a meeting or what?
We have a meeting.
Oh, we are.
Thank you.
Okay. So in front of you, you have the individual visitors that should read through August up at the top. Let me see.
So it's through September.
It should read through September, yes. So in September, the total number of visitors through the Welcome Center was 1,973 compared to last year's 1,877. Excuse me. So the year-to-date is up 13%, and the month of September was up slightly over last year. It was up 5% over last year. And then I gave you the full data sheet just behind this page that also shows the the comparison and the breakdown of the total number of adults and students, and group tours. I sent out an email to all of the tourism-related businesses in September, just kind of giving them all a heads up about the dates that we had group tours coming in. And we have had a significant increase in the number of both adult group tours and the number of children's group tours in the month of September. And as you can see from the bottom half of the page where it talks about passport sales, so the passports for adults were slightly lower than last year, and the passports for children was quite a bit up from last year. So looking at those two together, the total number,
Is that right?
a huge stack.
Or if you're using 13 to 14, it looks like adults are up and children are down, unless you have these backwards.
Hold on, let me find the right one. Okay, so passport sales in September was 168 adults. And so if we look at September for 2014, adults, 100, well, the number should be 168 adult passports in September, and last year we had 211. So that actually, the number on here is the group tour visitors. So on the passports, when you add last year's passports, or excuse me, the student and the adult for this year is 340 total, compared to 214 total for student and children last year, or student and adults last year. So our overall passports was up for the month of September. Most of that was due to student passports, was the point I was trying to make. I do feel like adult passports are still being affected by the Amaro House. It's only open part-time on 2 days of the week, on Saturday and Sunday. There's scheduled tours at 11 and 1 on Saturday, and one tour only on Sunday. And
What time is that? Sunday too?
I believe it would be the 1 o'clock. But I don't know, I know that we have talked with Donna about maybe taking the photo of the Amaro House off of the passport so that people don't feel like they're missing out on something. So to do that, we have to use up our inventory, well, we should use our inventory of the passports that are printed out and make some other adjustments to it. But I think we also might want to look at, and this might be an item to bring up with the resource committee, now that the Amaro has an additional display in it about Pelagie, the other display that is in there, which is the one that everybody wants to see, the diorama, because it's featured prominently in the video, and they find out about it online before they get here to St. Genevieve. Everybody asks about the diorama, and right now you can only see it 2 times on Saturday and once on Sunday. So, I mean, I think it might be something that we might want to explore, you know, what were the origins of that placement, and maybe if there's something else that could be done so that people can see
Lazenby
it more
paid
often.
for that,
Yes.
and they were very active in the Amarillo House, and that's why it was placed there.
Originally, yeah. So, I don't know, I just think it might be something that, a conversation or a dialogue that maybe could be explored. And so those are the Welcome Center numbers for the month of September in terms of visitors, passports, adult and children. In addition, you have a sheet that looks like this. And this gives you a tabulation. These come from the city treasurer in terms of the quarter, July, August, and September, just for a random sampling of the downtown restaurants and shops. You can see that for the quarter, the shops were down for the third quarter, from 2446 last year to 2082 this year. Sometimes after the end of the quarter, we'll have additional reporting for the last month of the quarter, which in this case would be September at 316.78. You can see that September is traditionally the lowest month in that quarter.
I went back and checked for that 1 month when nothing was reported, and Sue tells me that nothing was reported that month.
Oh, yeah, that was.
In December of last year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And they would have reported December in January
But-
and paid
But
those
there were no
out.
payments to the city during December.
For the shops that we
Mhm.
monitored.
Yep.
And then on restaurants,
What does that, what does that mean?
That just means that sometimes they can pay on a quarterly basis,
Yeah.
sometimes they pay on a monthly basis, and they just didn't happen to make a payment that month. This data is, kind of Sandra pointed out, it's 1 month late from actual time period.
Well, sure.
well, and in addition, we don't yet have the data from the lodging, because that's even more delayed, because that goes to the state and then comes back to us. But I wanted to point out on the restaurants, you can see on the quarter, 10,395 versus 10,120. That was pretty well on par. The month of July was up, the month of August was slightly down, and the month of September was maybe down by $100 or so. So I feel like as far as the restaurants, they, of course, we have more data in that pool, but they seem to be tracking about
I
on
think
track.
there's only about 6 restaurants, 5 or 6 in that pool.
So, well, I should say maybe more taxes reporting in that pool. And one of the things that we talked about last month at this meeting, I told you that we're always looking for ways to increase the amount of foot traffic that comes into the Welcome Center and comes into St. Genevieve in general. Obviously, part of that is the tour groups that we're bringing in addition to individual guests and visitors. And so we had talked about the example that I had from another community of spending tokens that could be used at participating shops and even wineries and so on. So I'm happy to report that we're just about to roll out this program. These are the St. Genevieve Fleur-de-Lis bucks. It has St. Genevieve and, of course, the Fleur-de-Lis on it, and 1735 and the visitstgen.com website. And on the back, yours that you'll get today have X's on them because they're void, but on the back, this will have a sticker that will say, for instance, this token worth $5 at any participating merchant. In the beginning, I'll be selling these to tour groups who come in, so they will finance this, and it will spend just like cash in a shop or a restaurant if they choose to participate. So I'm going to pass some of these down.
And then the shops are turning them into you?
Then at the end of the month, they'll redeem them for $5 each, exactly. Or, I think, like if you have a $5 wine tasting or something, maybe we could use these for a group that wants to bring their whole group to a winery and do a wine tasting. They could pre-purchase this so that they wouldn't have to mess with all the cash when they're there or something. Or if you want to participate, it could be used in your gift shop or
And
whatever.
the value's always going to be the same, $5?
Actually, the sticker can change. So if it is, like if you want the value to say, this is good for one complimentary wine tasting during, a special event or something, it could say that. But the stickers will change.
Who did this for you, Sandra?
Who's the company that Lori Fowler is with? One of the local companies. And these are made in USA, by the way.
Midway.
I don't think it's Aaron Kist. Who does he with?
Oh, American Business
Thank you.
Solutions.
Yeah. The one that used to be Financial Supply, right?
Yes.
I can never remember the name when it changes.
Mhm.
So, enter the Fleur-de-Lis Buck program. And now, so I started thinking about ways to expand this, and I think this would be the perfect kind of a promotion to encourage people to buy into for like teachers' gifts for the holidays, you know, because sometimes you want just a $10 or $15 or $20 or whatever you spend on your teacher gifts. You can buy them in increments of $5. Also for holiday shopping, this would make a great, you know, gift certificate because it could be purchased in one location and used at any participating shop. So I've been talking with the St. Genevieve Downtown Renewal Program and the shops that participate, you know, in that program, gradually trying to get around to each one and talk to them and tell them about it, make sure that they want to participate in it. So far, I haven't had anyone who said no. I mean, mainly because it spends like cash. They redeem it for cash, so they're not offering any discounts at all. It's no money out of their pocket to participate. So that's the Fleur de Lis Bucks program. We're trying, so in
Are
other
you going
words,
to have a
this is.
symbol on the business?
Yes, we're
doors?
working on a little sticker to stick into the windows that says we participate in the St. Genevieve Fleur de Lis Bucks program. So that should be rolling out this quarter. And let's see, there was something else about that. Fleur de Lis Bucks.
How long are you gonna make this go for?
Well, it could go for perpetuity because in a way, these will be recycled. You know, these will come back to the Welcome Center. If the sticker's a mess, we can always peel it off and put a new sticker on it or recycle it for a different event or something, but as long as we want to. And we talked last time about having a way to maybe, you know, I talked with the company. We got these from, I think, Biloxi, Mississippi, or someplace down there, and they called them Pelican Pounds. And they actually fund these. They give one of these out to everyone who comes into their Welcome Center. They give it to them, and they're funded by like a food and drink restaurant tax. So an extra, I think it's half a penny or something like that, that they collect in their participating downtown district, and then it funds these, and they give one out to everyone who comes in, yeah. So the person who showed it to me obviously thought it was so cute that they brought it home with them and didn't even spend it. So you know some of that's gonna happen too. Like let's say that you get 4 of these, you know, you might decide to spend 3 and keep 1 in your scrapbook or something. So in that way, it helps us, so then we could, you know, obviously we can cover the cost of printing these and of printing the labels and doing the distribution and the reimbursements and such. But we could also give these away, like when I put together a gift basket, you know, where people donate things, I could put a little collection of Fleur de Lis Bucks in there too.
Yeah, do you think you'll get a budget, be able to squeeze it in your budget? You could use it as enticement for tour groups. Do you have any money for that, do you think?
Well, I mean, we would have to come up with a way to fund that, and maybe that could be something that we could talk about with the Tourism Tax Commission, like a proposal of some sort. But, so I've already thought about, like, in the cover letter, it could say to tour group operators, you know, right now, they would have to spend $10 to get $10 worth of these. But what if we incentivize them to say, get $10 worth of tokens for your people for $8, you know, which makes them look great. They, you know, get $10 with only spending $8. Of course, they're going to have to incorporate that into the cost of their tour. Or maybe, you know, take it to the next extreme. We could make the whole thing an incentive. Come to St. Genevieve and get $5 in Fleur de Lis Bucks for everyone on your bus to spend while they're here, or 10 or whatever. If we found an independent way to finance, you know, the bank of these. Think of it like monopoly money. You have to finance the bank to have it redeemable. So what we want to do is to give an incentive for the foot traffic that comes through the Welcome Center to get out into the shops spending money. Shops, restaurants, whatever it might be. So this is just a conversion tool, basically, and can be an additional incentive tool. We're always looking at additional incentives and perks to offer to group travelers and individual travelers.
How much do these cost?
It's pennies a piece.
Okay.
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Are restaurants included or just the shops?
They may be if they wish to do so. So the first thing I have to do is communicate with everyone and find out who does and does not want to participate. And then we'll have a list of the participating merchants. And as Bob said, we'll have a sticker on their window that says, we participate in the St. Genevieve Fleur-de-Lis Bucks program. So I'm excited about it. I know it doesn't look like much, but these things take time, you know, and just tracking down the sources and coming up with the language and text and talking with all the shop owners and everything. So I'm glad to get it rolling out, and I think it's perfect timing, you know, coming up into the holiday season. So if anyone has any additional thoughts, like the one that you just had about incentivizing tour groups to come and kind of, you know, taking it one step further, always interested in thoughts and ideas. And maybe this could even be something that we could work on with like a resource committee or something like that. So, one of the other things that we talked about at the last meeting, and Jan, this was something that you brought up, I had mentioned the opportunity to place the St. Genevieve brochures into the hotel racks all up and down Interstate 55, which we have done before. It's been a number of years ago since we did this. And I will pass this around. This is a list of the interstate hotels on the 55 corridor that the CTM Media Group currently has displays in, and they service these. Now, Jan brought up a very good point. We know how many of our brochures they want to, you know, because like I sign a contract that says, you know, here's 500 brochures, put them in these 25 places. So I met with the rep from this company and asked them, you know, how have things evolved in your side of the program in terms of tracking how many brochures I give you, how many are put into each location, and then what happens next. So while I'm talking, I'll just pass it around. So they now have digitized barcode, and so every one of these locations has its own unique barcode. So when they're rack stuffing reps, I don't know what the term is for that, when their rack
Rappers.
stuffers are out, you know, in their, doing their job, they go to each of these locations, they scan the barcode, they scan our brochure, and they enter in a number for how many they put into that rack that day. So I feel like this would be a good opportunity, especially since we have brochures, and we have one actually that is specifically for, you know, the holidays, the winter season. And it's very reasonable, the price that they have. So they're offering a special for the month of November and December. And you can just go month to month. You used to have to sign up for a whole year at a time. So I think this is a good chance for us to, you know, kind of get out there. And I just wanted to report back to you on it. It's reasonable enough. I could probably do this through the, you know, the tourism welcome center budget. I haven't had a chance to talk with Mike about this yet, but it could also be one of the things, since it's bringing people to St. Genevieve from the I-55 corridor, it could be one of the things that the Tourism Tax Commission might want to consider. So whichever budget we use for it, I feel like it would be a good idea, and I feel comfortable. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the additional information in terms of the fact that they're barcode scanning and tracking the inventory. Theoretically, at any point that I wanted to pull an inventory report, I could ask them for an inventory report. So, so I just wanted to get back with you on that. And
Well, given those two improvements to the program, I'd say jump in on both feet.
yeah, I think it would be great to have our info in all those
Are you going to do
locations.
all of those?
It's part of a program, so it's, yeah. And I actually asked her, one of them that's not on there is at Butler Hill Road, there's a Holiday Inn that I know a lot of tour groups stop there, you know, depending on where they're going, and of course a lot of leisure travelers too. And so she's checking to see if maybe we could get that Butler Hill Road hotel location added to this list, at least for our brochures. I don't know about her other ones, but I just think it would be nice.
Depends on whether they own the box.
Yeah, right.
Hotel. We were in this for many years,
Mhm.
and at one time, we were allowed to participate in that with the grant money. And then they got a little hard to deal with And they said, well, you need to actually get bids on that, and there is no way to get bids, because either they own the box in this location, and it's the only box in there, or not. You
Well, they
don't,
have competitors.
there is no competitor.
Right.
And we were in the St. Louis market, we were in the I-55 and the I-70. We didn't go in I-44 or 4064 market. And we did thousands of brochures every year. The nice thing about this St. Louis market was they were all in businesses, which meant that, for instance, I worked at Ralston, and when you came downstairs, there was this box. And they would come downstairs and they would take one up to their office and then they would put it back in the box. So it just didn't get taken out and thrown away. Because a lot of places, you know, I used to stop at the place in St. James, which is a privately owned tourism center like ours is. And because we were greater than 100 miles or 75 miles away from that, we could put them in there for free. And for a long time we did. And
So Mike, you're saying that the management company allowed us to put it into their box even though they had a rep servicing
in
that?
St. James,
Oh, maybe they didn't have a rep that went that far?
no, they owned all the boxes
Oh.
themselves, and they charged other people. If you were within 75 miles,
Oh, I see.
you had to pay to be in the box.
Right.
And
But
we
if
were-
you're outside.
We were just outside the 75-mile limit, and so we got to put them in there for a long time for free.
Interesting.
But I would watch people would just go in and they would just take, you know,
Mm-hmm.
indiscriminately, and so it didn't, you know, that didn't work real well.
Right.
But we worked with the guy, and he was on Lindbergh, where his office was, Maryland Heights, I think. And we worked with him, and we were in that program probably for about 10 years. But we didn't, but the problem was, and what Jan alludes to, is the fact that we didn't have any return information on how many were being taken from each location
Yeah.
and how often. I mean, you know, this way they can tell you, okay, the people are traveling in the month mostly of June, and we're using more in June than any other month.
Mhm.
Well, if we saw activity somewhere from, say, June and July, then you would say, yeah, that's, you know, that's where, but we never got any feedback. There was never any feedback for it.
Well-
So I think that they're doing it this way.
And it's more
Yeah.
electronic, computerized in terms of the barcode scanning, so,
You know, I know they own the, or they did, they owned the box in St. Genevieve here on 55 at Ozora.
oh, at the Econo Lodge, but
Yeah.
it wasn't that then, yeah.
Yeah, and that says Econo Lodge, St. Genevieve, and that was a good place to put them. Because CTM owned that one too. And I will tell you, just personally, I don't know what Kathy feels about it, but if it's not as expensive as it was like $900 for the one, $1,100 for another one a year, and I forget, it's been a long time since we've done that.
Yeah,
But I think it would probably be worthwhile
okay.
for us to share.
Well, good. Well, maybe we can talk about, if you feel like this would be a
But
good.
first, you're gonna have to get a fire underneath the mayor, because we don't have a complement of commissioners, and I'm not calling a meeting until we get them. It took us 9 months to get one of them, and we're still missing another one.
I spoke with him
And
about that
to me
last
is
week.
Unacceptable.
I spoke with him about that last week, and he has some thoughts on that.
We gave him a name.
Yes, yes. So,
Well, we got 3 of them
I think
here,
we're
but we
close.
can't talk about it because you can't.
can't talk about it.
There's-
Thank you, Mike.
I think down the road, are you going to do this as an experiment?
We're going to try this because we can do it basically month to month on a short-term basis. And I feel like if we have satisfaction with that, also this, you know, coming into the slow period of the year, I
Yeah.
feel like it'll be, you know, one more little boost that we can do for this time of the year. And then, you know, maybe we can ask them for a proposal for a year's contract or something if we're satisfied with it, if that's okay with everybody.
Is there a way, you're going to get more feedback than you got before, just how many were out there, how many were used. Is there a way to, I'm thinking down the road, a little coupon or something in there that when you come in, if you bring it into the Welcome Center, you get something so we can start tracking. And it would only be in these that,
That are through this
Do this
program.
distribution?
pardon?
Fleur-de-lis bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, my, yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Bring this to the Welcome Center and get a fleur-de-lis buck, yeah.
You
I
can
mean,
just
it
have
would
plate
be-
change on the town brochure.
No, you have to do something.
No, but we could put a sticker on it or
You have to
something.
You have to do something different.
I like it. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
that would
just a
be really
thought.
something, again, it would be something we'd have to talk about how to finance it, but it would be something that we could track real specifically.
Or you could even do it, instead of doing it all the time, do a sample. In the month of April or something, do it, that those go out there, and they don't go out in anything after that.
Yeah.
Just a way to see if they're coming back, if it's a,
You know what the most fun thing about these is? It feels just like poker chips. I just enjoy stacking them up. Okay, so thanks for that input. I just wanted to get back with you because that was something we discussed at the last meeting. Another item, this week, our 2015 event confirmation forms are going out to all of the heads of events. And Ms. Laura, you are one of those, so I'll ask you to take one and pass them down. And so this is what the form looks like. We did this last year, and this was a way to try to get the information in about next year's events, get the dates confirmed earlier so that we can get them all onto the St. Genevieve calendar sooner, especially, in the month of January when we have time to do this kind of thing. So as you can see, I'm asking for any organizer of a major event to return these completed forms to the Welcome Center by November 15th, and these would be for 2015 events. I am also, on a regular basis, meeting with the heads of all these committees. So in the past week, for example, just so you know what I do with my time, I've met with the Rural Heritage Days Festival Committee. I've met with the Holiday Christmas Festival Committee. I've met with the Merchants Group of the St. Genevieve Downtown Renewal Program and also the Promotions Committee of the St. Genevieve Downtown Renewal Program. And there's probably another one that I'm missing there. So when I meet with them, I am trying to find ways for the Welcome Center to fully support their events, and we often incorporate something going on at the Welcome Center during some of these events. I provide assistance to them. I've started providing advertising budget for each of these major events to support what they're doing. So I take a portion of what I would otherwise spend in that period and include information about their event and what I'm doing. And of course, anytime I publish a list of upcoming events, as you know, I include all of the major events in that. So
I think the important thing here is we tried to start doing this earlier so that during the slower months, the staff down there puts it on a lot of the free websites.
correct.
Yeah, like, visit mo.com, and there's a number of other ones.
Which
that-
also saves those committees a lot of time, because they don't have to go out individually. I mean, we go to the website one time and we put in all the events that have been submitted. And then all of those committee chairs don't have to go out individually and submit their individual information.
Or not.
Or forget,
not.
right.
Yeah.
It's totally up to them if they want to also do it, but for instance, this month, because of information that we published, the Rural Heritage Days was picked up in the Missouri Life magazine when they were talking about fun things to do in the month of October, so St. Genevieve was featured there. What Jan has in his hand right now are two recent issues of St. Louis Magazine, and the truth of the matter is that I had to advertise in each of these, but for that advertising, we also got written up in an editorial which is marked in there. So for the month of September and October, St. Genevieve was written up in St. Louis Magazine, and we get people to come into the Welcome Center and say, you know, I've always wanted to come here, but I saw a little article, I saw a little, you know, get out and experience the fall color kind of a thing in St. Louis Magazine, and we finally decided to do it. We've been thinking about doing it for 10 years. You'd be surprised how many times you hear that kind of a story. Also, and I know there's just a lot going on right now. Next week, my outreach activity is I'm going to the St. Louis Convention and Visitors Commission monthly training meeting that they have. And this meeting is especially to talk about all the day trips in the area that you can do from St. Louis. And so educating other members of the St. Louis Convention and Visitors Commission, including hotel people, concierges, that kind of thing, about all the things you can do. And so we are presenting, Washington, Missouri is presenting, St. Charles, Alton, Mount Vernon, and the Tourism Bureau, Illinois South will all be there. So I just wanted you to know
That's good.
that I'll be attending that on our behalf. Isn't this pretty? This is a blow-up of a postcard that we're doing. This went out to people that we have encountered during our outreach programs over the year who've asked for information about St. Genevieve. So this says, plan your fall getaway, and it has our keywords on it that we've been using in all of our advertising campaigns. And then this is just the front, but then this is the back. So it says St. Genevieve Welcome Center, the address. Whether it's a special weekend or a midweek getaway, it's always a good time to explore French colonial St. Genevieve, and it has some of our upcoming events this fall. So this is going out to almost 500 individuals who I've picked up during these various outreach activities over the year. So again, just trying to, you know, that's kind of an awkward thing to pass around, but there it is. Just an FYI, the Bolduc will begin to have their new roof installed on Monday, November 3rd. So since this is prior to our next meeting, I want to let you know about it. The last day that the Bolduc House will be open for tours will be Friday, October 31st. Beginning on Saturday, they will have a very large, accurate model of the Bolduc House over at the Jean-Baptiste Ballet House. And they'll be moving some of the artifacts from the Bolduc and some of the portable furniture over there so that they can continue to honor the passports and people can still learn about the Bolduc House during the month of November. So this was shared with me by Leslie Barker, the director at the Bolduc House. I just wanted to pass that along because as Tourism Advisory Council members, you should be up to speed about these things. Okay, so this list right here, this is all the people that I have to hear from for that list of events for 2015. So, just so you know, if they don't get it to me, these are all the people that we have to contact and say, hey, can you please send us your events for 2015? So, there's that. I'm working my way through my stack here, can you tell?
Kind of back on we mentioned the visitor's guide. One of the things we had been doing is maybe once every 6 months is updating the online version because things change.
Yes.
I don't think we've done that this year.
We have been doing it, yes.
Have we?
Oh, the online version? No.
Right. No,
the PDF is just the download printable.
Right, but we actually changed it because, you know, people go out of business, new businesses come on, and we were trying to do it like every 4 months, but I thought that was a little too much because I think it cost about $600 to get Kim to redo that, but I think I've heard like Missy's is closed. There's several places downtown that have changed. There's
Right,
a couple that have been added.
Since this was printed.
Yeah, and it was just you ought to maybe take a look at that and see if it might be time to update it, because it's been a year since we issued this version of
Correct, a year this month, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do that. Okay, so I talked about outreach coming up. I also wanted to mention that 2 weeks ago, was the Governor's Conference on Tourism, and it was on our side of the state this time, so I just drove up to St. Louis 2 days, and one of those 2 days I took Megan Hook, who works now full-time in the Welcome Center mostly during the week, took her with me just to get some additional exposure and let her see what the Governor's Tourism Conference is all about. So that was a really good opportunity to network with the staff from the Missouri Division of Tourism and to get some information in terms of statistics and data and trends and so on. Picked up some interesting little tidbits that I think can make some tweaks on our program here, including some interesting travel apps. So it was always a good opportunity, and I just wanted to let you know that we were represented at the tourism conference, and there were over 150 people there from all over the state. And I met some really interesting people from the Arch. Did not know this. The showboats that are in front of the Arch that they do Mississippi River cruises with, those are not run by a private entity. Those are run by the same concession that runs the Arch, which I thought was really interesting. And actually, an elderly gentleman was there who I guess was very early involved with the Arch and many things, including these showboats, and he said at one time they came to St. Genevieve. And they landed at Little Rock Landing when the landing went still to the north there. And so, I have mentioned the river a number of times, and I'm sure we'll get into resources and special projects and things, but this was very interesting to me because I was not formally aware that that they used to come from the Arch and come to St. Genevieve and go back to the Arch on these showboats. And so, we have the American Queen coming here. It was supposed to come here 3 times this summer, and it was canceled 2 out of the 3 times because river conditions were not favorable. But we just had them, I guess, a week ago Sunday, and it was a very nice group, and they enjoyed being back here. Bob provided step-on guide services to them. It was actually on a Sunday, so I came in just to be here and really provide some good service to the American Queen staff who are on that. As you know, the current situation is the American Queen docks in Chester, Illinois. The people who want to take the premium tour to St. Genevieve get onto a bus, and they get bussed over here. And I think that in the future, one of the things we need to be looking at is how can we embrace the river to a greater degree? How can we dress up our face of the river, since it is a primary point of entry to our community? And really, bottom line is, how can we get more boats landing in St. Genevieve, because we are Missouri's oldest settlement, and this is a great place to bring a group of travelers who might happen to be on an excursion up the Mississippi River.
I
So
think that was the first time we had a full bus, too. I mean,
it was absolutely full.
Yeah.
It was so full that the person from the American Queen Management Company was sitting on the little flip-out seat that sticks out beside the driver. That's a full bus.
At the Community Services Foundation meeting last week, Commissioner Earls mentioned that they're looking for a grant to create a boat launching ramp. It'd be a Homeland Security grant, I think he said, so that the sheriff would have greater access to the river. And I think it would behoove us to work with the county, if they're pursuing that, to see if we can expand the scope of that to include recreational and commercial access.
I
Hear,
think
hear.
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
One of the things with boats like the American Queen, you have to have sewage capability and electrical
Right.
capability, but that just gets into the planning. Good.
Right. So that was interesting. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. It's not an insurmountable task. It's been done before, and with considerably less favorable facilities than what we might be able to come up with a concerted effort towards it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It was something that I learned at the governor's conference that I thought was very, very interesting.
And back in the old days, I mean, in the 30s, 40s, stuff like that, they would bring boats down from St. Louis all the time. 2,000 people would descend upon St. Genevieve in a...
Must have outpopulated the population.
Yeah.
So, there's a concessionaire other than the National Park Service involved in running the arch, is that what you said?
Yes, it is their local metro transportation.
Oh, you're right,
Mhm.
Bi-State.
It's kind of a partnership, and I think when the arch was originally built, it was a partnership at that time, and it has remained, and they each have staff there, and they each work on, joint promotions and things. To the consumer, it's seamless, but there are actually two organizations working together for transportation and also visitor access and displays and interpretation. So there were lots of great things that came out of that visit, but that was.
In earlier meetings, you had reported, I think it was on the group travel conference that's going to be held in St. Louis next year. Has there been any planning on that from our standpoint?
Yes, I have a conference call next week. So a couple of things there. The American Bus Association, and I want to talk with Laura after the meeting about some particulars, but the American Bus Association, you remember last January, Laura, on behalf of her business, and myself on behalf of St. Genevieve Tourism, went to Nashville to attend the ABA National Conference, which was in Nashville last year. The reason being, this January, it's in St. Louis, Missouri. So every tour bus operator who's anyone is coming to St. Louis in January for their national meeting. And they have agreed, I gave them a proposal to do a pre-conference FAM tour here to St. Genevieve, and they've agreed to do that. So there's a conference call next week about that, and we're very excited about that. The other thing is that the state of Missouri has recently joined a group of states called Travel South USA. And so imagine all the southern states. In addition, now Missouri is one of these. And this is probably, other than, the northeast quadrant, which has lots of tour bus travel and motor coach, specifically motor coach travel. Travel South USA has, they are a big part of the Brand USA program. And remember earlier this year, we advertised with the Brand USA courtesy of the Tourism Tax Commission, and we're in final stages of video editing for our video through that. But they have a meeting, they have two meetings coming up, one in December in Louisiana and one in the spring, maybe it's March. And so Travel South is going to be making a big announcement about how Missouri is now part of Travel South. So the Missouri Division of Tourism is really stepping up their game. And because of our participation in that Brand USA program this year, we've been included as one of the 7 destinations in Missouri, I think, that will be highlighted at this Travel South conference in Louisiana in December. So definitely was worth it to take that step. It would have been worth it even if the only thing we got out of it was a great video, but now we're actually being leveraged in other ways, which I'm very encouraged about.
At the January thing, are we going to have a booth or an exhibit at the American Bus Association? You were the one where you're going to do
we will be part of the State of Missouri's exhibit.
Okay.
I'll find out more after the conference call. It's the main thing that you do at this is you take a seat in what they sort of like an interview area, and you actually the tour code. Yeah, so,
Speed
7-minute appointments.
it's speed dating, yeah.
Yeah.
7-minute appointments. The people who are the motor coach operators stay seated, and the people like us move around and tell them all the great new things about what to see and do in St. Genevieve. So I need certain information about great things that are happening in St. Genevieve. They want to know what's new, what's exciting, etc. And you go around and you meet with them. So you don't have an individual booth there, but you do have an individual opportunity to meet with them on a one-on-one basis. And it's also very much like matchmaking because you request them and they request you, and if the requests match, then you get to meet with them and you get an assigned appointment time. You can also request them, and if they don't have all their appointment times filled up, they can see, oh, St. Genevieve, Missouri, that's something I haven't heard about before. Sure, I'll take an appointment by that person. So this is a very big opportunity. It's wonderful for us that it's in St. Louis, practically in our backyard. So we'll try to make the most of it.
Okay, anything else?
I think that covers it.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to old business, I said I'd give a brief update on the NPS study. I had a note from Sharon Miles earlier last week. She indicated, they had finished the editing of the report, and then it was going to they had to get permission to publish. They have sent that to Washington, the request for publishing. She thought it would be published in December now, not November, and the public meeting in January. And so that's basically the update. I was planning to send a note to Congressman Smith's person, aide,
Tom
yeah,
Schulte.
and Tom Schulte to kind of update them on that. Okay, any other old business? New business, do we have a plan for November, or the little thing that goes in the windows and stuff like that? That's it?
Remember, this is what we've converted to now, and so I've had these actually reprinted, and we're continuing to distribute these in hard copy, and all the shops have them. I think all the wineries have them. A couple of them had run out, so I tell them if they can't get to the Welcome Center to pick it up, I'm perfectly willing to take it to them. So the activities coming up for the remainder of October, obviously Rural Heritage Day this weekend, and if anyone would like to take some of these, I brought some of the event flyers back with you, if you want to take some of these back with you. So Rural Heritage Day is this Saturday. Parade starts at 10:30. Most of the activities are down on St. Mary's Road at the Creole House property, and in addition, that evening, there is the Spirit Reunion, and we have special flyers for that too. So this is coming up this weekend. Also, there is on October 29th, if anyone's interested in creating their own art and drinking wine while they do that, which means the art has a nice flair to it. Professional artist Kenzie Wolk is doing an Uncorked Artist event on October 29th. It's going to be at the KC Hall. It's $40 per person, and a portion of the proceeds go back to help out St. Genevieve Downtown Renewal. So it's a fundraiser event for downtown renewal, as well as a great opportunity to see if you have any creativity, and if you don't, it's only $40 and a piece of canvas.
And you get more creative the more wine you drink,
You bet,
right?
yeah. I have one that left a little bit to be desired, and it's hanging in my laundry room, but I'm very proud of it in my laundry room.
Well, she can't really make anybody an artist.
That's right. You
At
can
some
only,
form,
the wine
yes.
can loosen up your elbow a little bit.
I've
Well,
never seen
actually-
a bad painting in one of those closets.
You know,
They're all
you
good.
drink your
They all look
wine and
pretty
it
good.
looks like it's a masterpiece to you.
Exactly.
The next day, then you're like, what?
By the end of the night, you're like, look what I did. Then you get it home, yeah.
Yeah.
So then in November, of course, we have the Route de Vin Wine Diva Weekend on the 15th and 16th. On the 22nd, we have the Cookie Crumb Trail, which is, again, that's a downtown event, and people, kind of like the chocolate trail, they go from shop to shop, pick up a cookie and get a recipe that goes with it, in the participating shops. And this one's a little bit different because any proceeds from this go back to help a needy family during Thanksgiving. So last year, I'm not sure the exact amount, but I think it might have been like $300 or $400 that went to a local needy family, and they're kind of hoping that maybe, that was the very first time they did it, so they're hoping to maybe expand it to the point where maybe we can help 2 families this year. So That's called the Cookie Crumb Trail, and it's November 22nd. And of course, the largest event by far for the next quarter will be the Holiday Christmas Festival. That's December 6th and 7th with the variety show the night before and Friday night on December 5th. And we have two more art walks, one for the month of October, which is a week from, they're actually, it's this coming Friday, is the fourth Friday, and then one for the month of November, which will be the Friday after Thanksgiving. And yes, they do have the art walk on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and I guess the idea by the merchants was anyone who's home with their family over the holidays and you know, they would like to come out and do some shopping and see what the local shops have to offer. It's a great chance to do that and see some art and kind of enjoy downtown St. Genevieve during the early part of the holidays, so maybe it's not quite as cold yet. Also, you'll be hearing more about this, but the Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Renewal each really push shop local during the holidays. And so last year, I think, was the first year that the Downtown Renewal Group kind of picked up on some of the American Express Shop Small programs, in addition to what the Chamber does with the Eat, Shop, Celebrate program. And so, so that's going to be the really big push for that. So of course, starts Thanksgiving weekend and goes all the way through the holidays. So I think for Dina, help me with this, is there 2 weeks when Downtown Renewal is really pushing, and then 2 weeks when you're pushing it in the local paper?
Yeah, I'm not real sure when their actual push is, but ours is the first 2 weeks of December.
Okay, so I think they must be the last 2 weeks in November.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I think that's right, because we push Christmas walk weekend and then the following weekend, so.
So that's kind of a recap of upcoming events. There are probably some, I know there are some other smaller ones.
Any different kind of advertising going out in the next couple of months?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing, of course, we advertise, this time of year we really try to get people who are within an easy drive. So we're focusing on Southern Illinois and the St. Louis markets. And so I have a full page coming out in one of the special color inserts for Southern Illinois that has information about the Holiday Christmas Festival and also all of the upcoming events listed in that. And at the top, I needed a graphic, so I used the Eat, Shop, Celebrate with the shopping bag logo on it, kind of to try to catch people's eye about coming over here.
Sure.
So our advertising strategy is Southern Illinois and St. Louis, and then of course all of the other outreach activities that'll be going on.
Very good. Okay, I think we've already talked about the Fleur de Lis Books program, downtown tear-off maps.
Yes, this is very exciting. Okay, so these are draft, but so, you know, we've talked, let me just take those. We've talked several times about when people come into the Welcome Center. Right now, we pull out the St. Genevieve Visitor's Guide, and depending on what it is that they're there for, generally, I mean, they're already in downtown, so we need to tell them how to get around. So we usually flip open to the inside and tell them, you know, here's where the historic houses are, here's, you know, where the shopping district is, it's 3 blocks up and down Main Street, it's, you know, 2nd Street and 3rd Street, pretty well in the downtown area. And we get out a lot of the, you know, however many fold visitor's guide in doing that. It's wonderful, but at the same time, it's a lot of paper, they're turning it every which way, and so we talked about doing this tear-off map. So this has been based for the most part on the maps that are in the kiosk on Main Street, at the Main Street Park, and also the kiosk over here by the courthouse that says "You Are Here." So obviously, we took off the "You Are Here" symbol and added a few new touches to it.
Sorry, I was just looking at it.
One of the things
Here,
that,
I'm looking at it.
Oh, that's okay.
one of the things that wasn't on the previous one was the location of the historic churches downtown, and that's something that people ask about frequently. So we added that to it. They always want to know where the ATM machines are, so that's on there. Obviously, you can see the historic houses are located on there. And instead of having little dots for every single shop, we changed the color of the street in the downtown shopping area so that they can kind of see, this is where you want to park your car, walk, go door to door in this area. So it's not finalized yet. I did meet with Jan and made a change since he looked at it, but I want to get it out to other members of the print committee and see if there's any other changes that they want to make to it.
Is it going to be that size, or is it going to be bigger?
I think it'll probably be that size because it fits well on there. We kind of blew it up a little bit. Tell me if you think the fonts are too small. I feel like they're fairly legible.
I think that's fine.
I think it's nice.
So this will be literally a tear off, so it's, Jan, you're the printer, what's that when they have the glue across the top?
Padding.
Padded, okay, so it's padded.
I'm excited to see this because the chamber used to have a tear-off map for city limits.
Oh.
And it was one of the most
Sought after.
Yes, the requested maps.
Yeah.
And they just come in, just rip it right off and take it with them, and, yeah.
Cool.
So,
Good.
we're out of them, but when we didn't reprint them. It was part of our brochure, or our community profile that we did, and we got 1,500 tear-off maps.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a perk?
Requesting a map of where the city limits are.
Well, no, it was a map of the city,
Oh, okay.
not city, I mean, it was just city limits, it just,
It was a map limited to the city.
right. It didn't have the county, like a full county map on the back, it was just all city. I mean, it had the fair, it had everything on it, and I kept one copy of it, because I make copies of it now, and I still give it out, even though it's not in tear-off form, so.
Well, and this would be something that could be in all the bed and breakfasts to make it easy for people, even if you're just sending them to the welcome center, it's going to be easy to give people, okay, here's where you are, here's where you're going. It's not
Right.
as busy as the other map, and it's certainly, as Mike said, if they take one and throw it away, at least it's not 48 cents a piece or whatever it is on the big one.
Are you printing them, who's printing them for you?
We haven't gotten the quotes on it yet. Suffice it to say, it'll be whoever's cheapest. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Good. Training opportunities.
Dina, there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out, but I know that you also have some things that are going on with the chamber. One of them that I wanted to point out was, how did this start? Let's see. Oh, I was up at St. John High School helping with their interviews, like mock interviews for their students, and the teacher, the business teacher, Denise Bader, asked me if I thought that there would be a need for an Excel class for business owners. And I said, absolutely. And when I was at the university, this is one of the most requested things that used to come up all the time, is small business owners who may still be on a paper-based journaling system, or they may be doing electronic, either with QuickBooks or Excel. They just may want other tools at their disposal. I said, I think it would be something people would be very interested in. So she is working on, and she wants to partner with the Chamber and with Downtown Renewal on this. But her concept is to have people sign up for this class. There would be a fee for the class. It would help offset the cost of materials, but also it would go to help the Future Business Leaders Association, the FBLA, as a fundraiser. She thought that it would be a more meaningful fundraiser for them than selling candy bars or whatever. And so you would take the class maybe 2 nights a week for 6 weeks during the winter, when you have a little more time on your hands in the evening. And FBLA students would be there to help people. So if you had never touched Excel before and you wanted a student there who's taken Miss Bader's class and they're an FBLA member, they could actually be there. So I feel like it would be a good opportunity for not only the businesses to learn something and support a good cause, but also for the students to get more involved. So I thought it was a great idea, and I told her I would tell you all about it and share it with the chamber and with Downtown Renewal and see if we can drum up some interest for it. So.
She's actually doing our program in February. So
Okay.
we coordinated those dates last week. We do have a training session coming up in November. I think it's November 17th. That will be all about taxes. So what do you need as a small business for your CPA at the end of the year kind of thing. That's going to be with Hardin and Schaefer and Mike Harrell and Jason Bosler. That is November 17th, I believe, is that date. So once I confirm that date after tomorrow's board meeting, then it'll be out. And people can sign up for it. And for our chamber members, it doesn't cost you anything. It is a free service that we are offering all of our members. So for Denise and the Excel program that she's going to do for us in February, we are paying that fee directly to FBLA. And then I think we will be able to register 40 chamber members for that meeting, or for those 2 sessions. So again, you have to register through us, but as a chamber member, it won't cost you anything. It was just a part of the services to entice their benefits and help them, because some people, we did the social media seminar, and we had 20 or 21 people for that, and it was good. I did get 2 individuals' feedback that they weren't impressed with our presenter, because they didn't feel like it helped them at all, basically. They felt it was way over their head, but they were very beginners. So I think, after the first 30 minutes or so where he got out of the beginner part of it and he got into the more advanced, they lost it. So
How many people did you have, Dina?
I think we had 20 or 21 people.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So
And that was the same presenter that we had last fall that we sponsored through tourism, Craig Allen, right?
Yeah. with
He's a
us
great
too.
presenter, but I could see if he gets rolling, he's probably doing that for the advanced people, and if he might have left a couple
Well,
beginners behind.
What happened was he brought the wrong presentation with him, so he really had to go off the cuff, and he didn't have his slideshow or anything. He brought some like how to build a website kind of thing, and it was the wrong. I mean, he felt terrible.
I think that's another one that you could offer, is how to build a website. So-
Sure, and it's part of that too, but we have to get some people how to log into their Facebook first. I mean, that's some of our businesses that came to that they didn't even know their passwords, and it was just, we need to, but I mean, it was good. I thought it was fairly well. The tax one, I think, is going to be a good version. I'm not quite sure because I'm not a small business owner, but they're going to do whatever they do. And actually, that's going to be held at the tax preparation one will be held at MRB
Down in the basement.
in their meeting room downstairs. If you've not been there, it's phenomenal. It's actually a beautiful space, and I think they can hold quite a few people. I want to say they could probably hold 75 people to 100 maybe. So. And then, again, working with the school. So we're kind of excited about some of the things that we've offered.
Okay.
I think I already talked about upcoming events.
Right. I wanted to talk about meeting times. I think we've had this discussion about a year ago about maybe changing it. We've had, over the last 6 months, I think we've had 3 meetings where we didn't have a quorum. And I was wondering if, we usually have a quorum when we do the evening meetings. I didn't know how you all feel about at least every other month doing a Tuesday evening meeting at 7 o'clock, as opposed to doing it in the daytime. I know we have some business owners that are tied up. Or, and we probably have some business owners that want to just, at the end of the day, say I've had enough. So, yes, Kathy.
My only suggestion would be not 7 o'clock, earlier. I've found with doing other meetings that if you can catch people before they go home to either eat or take off their shoes or prepare supper for the family, if you can catch them at 5:30 or 6 and keep them for an hour, you have a better luck of building a room full of people than if you wait till 7.
Okay, it
That's-
doesn't wipe out the evening for you. You still have
Yeah.
time.
I agree with that.
Well, I was thinking we're the third Friday now. If we went to the third Tuesday, I think looking at your calendar, it looks fairly,
Sorry, excuse me.
Sure.
She just called and said that's probably what you're talking about, so she wanted to make sure that stayed
Oh.
with her.
okay.
I agree with Kathy, what she just said, because I've got enough 7 PM meetings right now.
Okay. Do you want to do it every month or on that basis, or just do it every other month?
Evening meetings?
Evening meetings?
Personally, I
last time
prefer
we-
no, evenings are rough for me personally, but
I mean, I remember
Yeah, they're
not too long
for me
ago, we
too,
had
but I-
meeting, had a discussion about not even doing the quarterlies, let alone bi-monthly, the evening.
Well, I think the discussion was about all the, oh yeah, you're right, it was quarterly when it first started
Yeah.
on the evening.
Well, and that was because of the goal of that particular one was to have more members of the public attend. And there aren't many members of the public who aren't already around the table who are really interested in attending these meetings, I think, so.
Well, I really think you need to focus on another question, and that is, that since we're generally involved with tourism, Friday is just not a really good time to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer this Monday situation much more.
Well, Monday evenings are tough. I think those are scheduled quite
Well,
often.
if there's a planning and zoning meeting, it's on a Monday.
Yeah,
If
landmarks
are
is on Monday.
Yeah, but if you do it early, landmarks doesn't start till 7.
Till
so-
7.
Yeah, but we tend to,
And you have,
Yeah.
you've got a levy district meeting that starts at 5.
I think Jan's point is your daytime meetings, rather than Friday, Monday is better for the
My point
daytime
exactly.
ones. But to your point, if it's an evening meeting rotation, that would be maybe a Tuesday night.
yeah.
So what if we did the third Monday or the third Tuesday night, alternating or once a quarter, or what we?
I would say let's alternate. Look, you want to try it for a while, and if it doesn't work, we change it?
Works for me.
Okay, so starting in November,
We'll do an evening meeting in November.
so it would be on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, it'd be the,
Tuesday evening at what time?
6 o'clock. So
That's what you were suggesting, 6 PM?
I'd say even earlier.
5:30?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
which Tuesday are you looking at?
It's the third Tuesday.
That'd be
The
the
18th.
18th.
I'm sorry, what time did you say?
5:30.
5:30.
And then at 9:30 on Mondays, third Monday.
So theoretically, that would be November 18th in the evening at 5:30, and then in December, it would be 1, 2, 3, December 15th, Monday morning. So then the next one would be 12/15, which would be the Monday for alternating.
Let's try it, and then we can always change it. We'll confuse all the public that comes.
Keep moving it around.
Yeah. Okay.
Is 9:30 good for both our B and B owners? Okay.
Okay, I think, remember a few months back, we did do some information on ideas for the future.
That was last month. we did.
Well, there was one even before that, I think.
Oh, the brainstorming?
The brainstorming, we talked about maybe trying to assign, getting some volunteers from this group and maybe other people to work on some of those that are high priority. We just haven't had a chance to get together and to talk about those specific ones. You and I were gonna get together and say, okay, these are the ones we think are maybe most important now.
Well, we did refer some of them out, like the open air market came as a result of that discussion, the Saturdays in
Yeah.
St. John was a result of that.
I
That
think-
early brainstorming, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I
last-
think, well, no, there was one earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think we need to kind of take a look at that again. Our role here is to advise the city, but I think we also, all of us are very much interested in tourism and want to support it, and we talked about ways to help you do what you're doing, and I think various projects like tear off maps or whatever, ways we can help you do on that. So I'd just like to sit down and go over that list and talk about that with you maybe before the next meeting. Seems like, I'm sure your days are kind of like my days, you just don't, there's not enough hours in the days anymore.
Yes.
Word of the wise on all of you that want to retire, it's busier. Sorry, Dina.
Don't try and rehabilitate an old building and overlap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. Any other business to come before? Yes.
This is just a point of information for you. I'm doing a promotion in November in conjunction with that book that we were in. If they bring in the book that we were in, on the first night, they're going to get a 15% discount. If they stay the second night, they're going to get a 20% discount. Whether they bring the book or not, whoever stays in the month of November, I'm giving a 5% donation to the Christmas Box House International. It is an organization that provides safe haven for children who have been abused or are separated from their siblings or have a hard time. And so this is just something I believe in, and the man who started it is the man who wrote the book.
Wow.
Awesome.
So that's just a promotion we're doing in November.
Okay, very good. Good worthwhile cause. Yes.
I'll do my coupon in tandem with your discount then too.
Okay,
We'll do that again.
all right.
Awesome.
If either of you have, I know Kathy, you've had coupons throughout the year, but if you have something in writing about that promotion that you want to have?
It's on my website. It says November special.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have anything you
Yeah.
want us to
Yeah,
hand out
I'll
down at
print
the
it off
Welcome
and-
Center.
I'll print it off.
Sure, we can have copies there.
Yeah, give it to you.
Okay. If there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before that, I'd just like to say thank you to Sandra for all her hard work and Bob.
I agree. I see her car there often after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
My neighbors across the street actually yelled at me one day last week. They said, "Go home." That day I was back there to fix a toilet after hours. This morning I came in.
You do plumbing, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
This morning I came in early to get ready for the meeting, and the street sweeper came down the street. And so I ended up actually going out into the parking lot to help get the leaves that I wanted picked up over to where the street sweeper was. I wasn't going to let him go by and not get those leaves. So you just never know what's going to come up. Thank you, Jan.
You made it really tight.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, Kathy? All in favor?
Sorry, guys.
See you later.
So is this just Larry Johnson?